age where like people,
Didn't
if they
like
like it,
Pokemon.
they either have a small circle of friends they trust with the information, or they don't talk about it.
Yep. Yeah, that's generally how it goes.
But then you get to college and people stop giving a shit.
Yeah, because at that point it's like, okay, you like what you like. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, I just find that funny. It's like, yeah, it very much is like that middle school, high school thing where, because I mean, I was the exact same way. But we are live.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As always, the code is the same. Now it's time for more Zygarde failures.
Oh, don't say that.
I mean, it's what's going
It's
to
true,
happen.
but don't say it.
I mean, fair. But we all know it's going to happen because it's just Zygarde is a pain.
Yeah, Zygarde is. Watching you shiny hunt Dialga the other day, and just seeing how much, still tedious, but how much less tedious the process is.
I mean, it's a different kind of thing for this because when it comes to like shiny hunting in Dynamax Adventures, it's more active. Like you're battling things, you're engaging in battles more, you're doing things. When it comes to the shiny hunting,
Yeah.
it's just press, restart, press, restart, and just it's do the same things over and again. When you're doing this, it's you're doing different things. Also, thank you Zinnia for hopping in.
Hmm.
The one of the people who joined up with the thing.
Oh, okay.
Code is live too, by the way.
Assuming I put it in correctly, I should be on my way in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I got it in.
So I also just realized something, and that is I don't need to restart my Diamond and Pearl, my Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl file when I want to do the Let's Play of the game.
Just make a new account.
Yeah, I could just make a new account. Because, like, I want to keep the Platinum, Lucas, and Dawn. Like, I want to keep those. Because, like, I don't want to restart that. I don't want to restart my base file. I don't need to anymore. I love it. The only problem, though, is that I can't do, like, trade evolutions over internet because I need to buy internet for that specific file. But I have friends, like, I can just go to friends and say, like, yo, can we just do a trade? Like, can I just trade all this thing? It's like, I don't think, the audience will begrudge me doing that. Just bringing my Switch over to a friend. I'll say, can we just do a trade real quick to get the thing evolved? I don't think anyone would begrudge that when it's like, it's that or spend, like, $10 to get Switch Online for 1 month I'm not even going to use for an account.
That might not really be worth it.
Not really.
There are a couple N64 games that I don't have physical copies of, that I would be interested in playing on Nintendo Switch Online, but I don't really feel like paying $50 a month.
Yeah, like
I kind of feel like I have mixed feelings on that edition because adding the N64 was a great idea, but upping it from 20 a year to 50 a year is not a good idea.
I mean, you also gotta remember, it's because of it did cost, of course, more to go program all those things. It also is like for convenience. Like it's the same way that I think, yeah, Manaphy. Yes, you could do that to farm multiple Manaphy egg accounts, but you can't get them shiny. You can't get the Manaphy cannot be shiny. But the way I see it as is pretty much the same reason as I don't have a problem with the upscaled price of Skyward Sword, where Acid Spray Ice Beam. Acid Spray Ice Beam, that's gonna be fun. It's like for the same reason as why I see no real issue.
There's like nothing here that I really want.
I mean, Scorching Sand Centiskorch would probably be the best.
It's probably the only thing.
Yeah. It's like, the way that I see it is basically not much different than the upscaled price of Skyward Sword being, 45 whatever it was when it was on a DS game, not a DS game, a Wii game, and the 60 price now. You're paying for the convenience. It's better than...
You're also paying for the quality upgrades.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at like a convenience thing where you're paying for a better game in terms of like you're paying for the same game with a little extra stuff. I ignore the extra little stuff. I look at purely the game, and you're paying for the game, but you're paying to not have to buy the old console if you don't have it. It's one of the reasons why I don't get why people are so annoyed about Skyward Sword. It's like, if you still have a Wii and you still have Skyward Sword, you're not going to buy this game because you already have the game.
That was kind of my motivation for not buying it.
Exactly. It's like
I think there is a game-breaking save glitch involved with Skyward Sword, but I think I have the update for that, so I don't think it would matter.
Yeah, I mean, there was already that one. Also, hey, Fearsome Ferrothorn, how are you doing here? And again, thank you for the lurks, Owen. But yeah, that's the way that I saw it, and I was like, if you guys are gonna be complaining about this game, well, because, well, the Wii version was cheaper, well, you probably have the Wii version. You're not gonna get this game anyway because you already have a version of this game that is basically the same thing. It's not for you. It's not a game that is for you.
The price also makes sense because, like, well, one, inflation, but also the price of, like, putting a game on a CD is a lot less expensive than making a cartridge.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not like they just ported over one-to-one the data from the thing. They did go in and they changed, some of the code because they had to modify it to make the updates, to make some changes, for quality of life things, to make the controller compatibility. They had to go and not necessarily remake the game from the ground up, but they did have to go in and do a good amount of work to renovate it. It's not just porting the thing over one-to-one. And it's like, it baffles me that people don't realize that. It's for the same reason why, like, people not realizing that Pokemon games like the badge boosts. Like, that is the thing that people legitimately still do not know was a thing when it came to the original Pokemon games and up until Generation 3. The badge boosts existed.
I think people just don't like, for whatever reason it is, people collectively, a lot of people didn't like Skyward Sword. I really had no problems with it aesthetically. I have no problems with it, like, plot-wise exactly.
Yeah.
I think the gameplay and level design... I have to be careful with that. I think the dungeons are really good.
Yeah,
I think, like, the pacing and, like, layout is kind of lackluster.
I mean, well, the thing is, if you just made, like, 3 separate pillars, like, okay, the Sand Sea is a separate pillar you can fly to, Floria Lake is a separate pillar, then I don't think we would have the same issues. It's one of those where, like, I very much agree with Chugga Conroy's comment on that, where if it was that way, people wouldn't really have much of an issue with it, because it doesn't seem as it's being the same places, even though they are very different. I will take that expert belt. Yeah, it's kind of a case of certain things being certain ways, but yeah, I enjoyed. I still think Skyward Sword is better than Breath of the Wild. I think it is better than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I don't agree with you.
The main reason why is because
I can understand why.
Yeah, I don't like.
And
I like a story. I like story. I have an overworld game. I like I said, if this was basically like Skyward Sword, but like to Xenoblade scale, this would be probably the best game ever made. But it's not. It's mostly because the game plops you right in the middle of the story, and the story is only expanded if you deliberately go out of your way to find all the little story tidbits, and they're not really even important. Like, that's my main issue with really the entirety of Breath of the Wild, is nothing is important because it's all just the whole game is side content. There's no central story that is, like, progressing. It's just basically a scavenger hunt. And sure, there's a lot of bosses to fight. There's a lot of stuff to do, but getting all the shrines and getting all those orb thingies, it's grindy. there's no
There-
true dungeon in the respect of the way the older games had, where I do respect the change. You know, yes, I'm aware that the Divine Beasts are meant to be like this game's dungeons, and the shrines are meant to be that game's dungeons. The problem with them is that they don't do a good job, is that the Divine Beasts are not really dungeony, and the shrines also aren't very, because you can get them over within like not even 5 minutes.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a case of when you have so many, because there's, I think, like there's like what, like over like 200. There's like I think 200 or something of them. It's ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, I get the idea.
Yeah,
You're not
a little over.
Yeah, like you're not supposed to go out for every single one of them. Okay, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still excessive. Even if you're not meant to go for every single one of them, that is ridiculously excessive. And it takes the place.
I don't mind the shrines, but the Korok seeds, there are 900 of them.
Yeah, but
how do they even have the patience to put that in the game?
Yeah, it's like that
because they're all like, most of them, they're all individually like and specifically placed, and some of them have like specific patterns and individual puzzles to them, and it's like,
that's exactly what I mean.
Why did you go through the trouble of that? I mean, I think Breath of the Wild is like very much like deliberately antithetical to Skyward Sword. It'll be really, what I'm interested in seeing is what they do with Breath of the Wild with the sequel.
Yeah.
Because because they can't like
redo it
on the plot they can't do the same thing with Breath of the Wild and make the plot already happen.
Yeah. I feel like that a lot of people don't like that about Breath of the Wild, but people are okay with it because it was something new. You know, because it was something new, something that hadn't been done before, and it really, like, people just kind of got distracted. They didn't focus on it. If they do it again, then people are going to realize there was no story the entire time, and it's literally just a giant, basically, beat 'em up. It's a giant collection quest. And
doing the same thing again would defeat the point of making Breath of the Wild, which was that people felt like they were doing too much of the same thing every game.
And even then, Breath of the Wild is
to make it no longer formulaic.
Yeah, even then, Breath of the Wild is still extremely formulaic for what it is. It's still just go collect stuff. It's like go collect stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind like that is like really the root of my issue with Breath of the Wild is just, yes, there is a lot to do, but that a lot to do is a lot of the same stuff. It's like just fight a different monster, go get a different thing. And the Divine Beast bosses, the blights. Yeah, they're cool, but they're all shoot weak point eye monsters. They're literally all the shoot thing in the eye with the bow enemies. Or, you know, hit them with guardian weapons. It's like, really? You're doing the exact same thing again?
Van Hansen had like back on his like Eager Epic channel has this like whole thing and ranting about Zelda, like and he complains about it being like very formulaic from like A Link to the Past on, which is what started that kind of like 3 paths kind of 3 gemstones kind of thing and then 6 temples thing.
Yeah.
And
it was the trope setter.
But he does make fun of like shoot me in the glowy eye thing.
Yeah.
And it does that too, but it'll be interesting to see what it does.
I feel like a lot of people look very highly at Breath of the Wild for the same reason people look very highly at the original Pokemon games, and that is it's really nostalgia. It's something that is not really the same as a lot of the other stuff, and it's just, we like this thing, but when you really look at it for what it really is, it doesn't really hold up. Sure, the game is expansive beyond all compare. Like, it is probably one of the I think it's like one of the biggest games there are. Like, it's gigantic. But when you really get past the fact that it did things differently than previous Zelda games, you know, it was deliberately going out of its way to be different. Well, what are those changes to the games when not judging from the perspective of it's meant to be different, looking at the game purely on its own? And that's the way that I see. I isolate games in a vacuum. I don't look at games as what it was relative to its predecessor, unless it's a direct, deliberate sequel. In the case of something like, say, Black and White 2.
Man, I guess I should go. I did not get any. I was hoping to get one Pokemon that was worthwhile.
You can get this one.
Yeah, if only because it's mostly immune to ground.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say now. I think the.
But I will say this. I think objectively, Breath of the Wild is a good game. Like, it is a game that people should get because it is a good quality game. It is very well made. There is a lot to do, and it is an enjoyable game to play. But I add that all with, it's not a Zelda game in the way Zelda games are. It's meant to be very different, and I don't agree with a lot of those changes. I think many of the changes were not good because it was deliberately trying to be so different. It kind of spent so much time trying to be different, it didn't devote enough self to being its own thing. It's a lot like the reaction I say. It's kind of the same thing that I say to Generation 6 and Generation 5. One was deliberately a huge overcorrection from the overreaction of a prior game. It went out of its way to be so drastically different. It wasn't a natural progression of how things would normally go because they forced things into being so different.
I think Breath of the Wild also has kind of a like inverse logarithmic difficulty curve in the sense that at the beginning it's really hard.
I thought it was,
but like once you get past like one shrine, especially after 2, it
like, gets easier.
It's a cakewalk.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is that there's a lot of stuff to do in Breath of the Wild. That's fantastic. There's so much to do. You can spend months playing that game and just doing new things, but it's all the same stuff.
If you're like me, that works out really well because you just get lost playing it, and it's easy to kind of move. Like, I'll go to, like, alright, I'm gonna climb this mountain, and next thing I know, I'm, like, doing something totally different.
Yeah, it's ADD mode. That's me. That's exactly the same way as me.
I enjoy the game experience for that, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I mean, I have ADD. That is exactly me. But I don't like it for that reason. It's just, there's so much to do. It is so easy to get lost in doing things. You spend so much time, like, just wandering around doing nothing that you're not doing it. You're spending so much time just wandering around. And, again, not a bad thing, but...
That Max Hailstorm.
Yeah. I also have a special attack boost because I download. Yeah.
Wow,
that was a
good one.
That was a 4-stage drop. And that was just destroy. I love it when I do that much damage. But yeah, it's like, as a Legend of Zelda game, I don't think Breath of the Wild is good for that. It doesn't really feel Legend of Zelda because not even like, okay, the typical trope structure. It's that outside of Ganon taking the shape of a giant boar and the Gorons just being a Goron, nothing really is strictly Legend of Zelda. Like, the Triforce kind of doesn't really come up. You don't have to... The Zora, but the Zora could just be any, other civilization. A lot of things in tropes do have, the Amazon warrior culture thing. Even the Gorons kind of can be a bit analogous to something like the dwarves in something like, typical fantasy. It's not like... Yeah. It's not like this is uniquely Zelda. which is kind of the way that I see is like, you know, that's one thing, like, the original Zelda structure, sure, it was formulaic, sure, it was repetitive, but it was uniquely Zelda. You know, the structure of get a thing inside of the, you know, dungeon, use that to solve puzzles in the dungeon, use it to beat the boss of the dungeon. A lot of those are things that, you know, not unique to Zelda, but Zelda is largely what started that, and it's what made the Zelda series have the feel that it does. To go and change that means to change what the Zelda series is. Yeah, it's like, if you change the fundamentals, you change the entire nature of it.
I think, like, with the pressure to constantly, like,
Innovate.
make a experience that stays true to itself but is also new,
Yeah.
it does sort of, at some point, you as a creator, you are going to ask yourself, well, what is this?
Yeah, what are the fundamentals?
What is a Zelda game?
Yeah.
I was talking to a coworker last night about Pokemon and how I like a lot of the things that Black and White did with the story and the questions that they asked in the way. Okay, I guess there's nothing here that's super.
I'd
good.
go with the Dusclops.
That's what I was. Yeah. Like, the way it sort of asks, like, on its face, like, well, what are that, and what does it mean to be to own Pokemon?
Yeah.
What are the ethical implications of that relationship? Is it actually, you know?
It asks, you know, some pretty
positive.
Heavy moral questions. We'll go to the left, not the left, the right, because the right has a Sneasel.
The right, because of the eyes.
Yeah, it is a Sneasel, and I have coaching. It also has a Duraludon, which has a physical dragon move. So that'd be good. So you and Zinnia should switch out. I have coaching to help. But yeah, it's like, it's one of the main reasons why I will speak very highly of Breath of the Wild, but I will also say I don't like it. I don't like this game as a Legend of Zelda game. I enjoy the game more thinking of it as its own separate entity than as a Zelda game. Sort of like, yeah, basically like I don't consider it a Zelda game, and that makes me think of it more positively than just it is a Zelda game.
Yeah, I think they were, with Breath of the Wild, they really were, and they've sort of, Aonuma has, like, said this explicitly, but they were going more for Zelda 1
Yeah.
for the NES.
Yeah, that's...
And that experience than they were for the quintessential Zelda experience.
The modern what it has become because of games like, you know, Link to the Past. It was going back to the original, you know, what the original game was. And I respect that. But the original game had actual dungeons. The original game had actual dungeons.
I don't know what they're going to do in lieu of, like, what the Divine Beasts were, or if they're gonna do kind of like Divine Beasts, but, like, there's something more to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's some new catch that wasn't there.
It is implied. It actually is, like, outright stated, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know that it's implied, but I don't know if it's outright stated. There are many more Divine Beasts than just the 4 that we saw in the main story and the 5th one that we have in the DLC. There's a lot more. And the thing is, the idea of the Divine Beast, I find fascinating. I like the idea. But make it more of an actual dungeon than just basically a motion control puzzle that really isn't very dungeony. It's basically walk through a bunch of places. There's, you know, a couple things to do, but it's all motion controls. And it's not like it's even a lot to do in there. There's more interaction with, there's more of a, not really a puzzle, but, like, there's more to do to the actual, like, fighting the Divine Beast itself, like, get access to it. Which, I mean, that's good. That's fun. I love that. Like,
I think the elephant for the Zora route is probably one of, if not the best.
Oh, that was fun.
Beast.
I mean, I didn't even know.
It's the only one that's really big enough to justify itself, and that's sort of just the other one that I would say is maybe the Goron one.
Yeah. Well, the Goron one was fun because, like, you're literally launching a Goron out of a cannon to hit it. That's just cool as a concept.
they also keep you like you have to start the beginning of it completely in the dark.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but it's like
do I want
I
Serena? I'm leaning against it.
yeah, I'd not take it.
So I think I would
Good.
probably
They
say
took it.
the what's it called? The elephant is the best one by far, hands down, easily.
Yeah, I
They
agree
all
with
should
that.
have been that big.
Yeah.
Followed maybe by the salamander.
Yeah, I have mine reversed. I like the salamander one the most, but I do like both of them. The bird one isn't. I don't have like two. It's an interesting idea. I kind of like it, but at the same time, it's literally just okay. Tilt one side, tilt to the other, tilt one side, tilt the other. It's like that's kind of boring. Yeah. It's like I want like bomb puzzles or like boomerangy puzzles. Like I want like puzzles like that. I think are really cool, and you don't have that in this game.
Speaking of the boomerang, I think it would have been cool, and I wonder if they'll do this if there was a little more like they had a little bit of it with like the hammers and like heavy items and things, but there wasn't quite enough like use this weapon to fit this situation.
Yeah, like the only time that really happened was when you're fighting like the Talus things, where like the hammer and the rock smash things, those do more damage to them, and like explosives do more damage to them, but like that's really it.
There's not enough of that in the main, like
it's just boss hunting
dungeon areas.
Yeah, I mean the other thing is like
to integrate. Yeah, because the boomerang, like you don't need the boomerang if you never pick up a boomerang. Like
you're never gonna need it.
I mean, you could just use. I usually just use a boomerang as a sword, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I miss things like that, and I'm like I want to see more things like that because those are fun. But like they don't have that here, and it's like that's what I don't really like because I like mini bosses that are different. I like bosses. I like dungeons that are really different. And again,
having more like mini bosses, like one or two mini bosses in the Divine Beast would be great. Really,
yeah.
That would have really helped a lot, because like you can only fight those little like scouts so much.
Yeah,
that's like
that's what I mean. The game is very repetitive when you really think about it. A lot of people were kind of lost in just like the majesty or the scale of the game, to not really realize just how repetitive the game is. Not to say the game is bad for that reason, but I'm saying it isn't this grand, amazing, reinvent everything. You're fighting the same enemies over and over again. At the very least, the older games, you did fight different enemies in different locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
I actually think that a lot of people talk about how they don't think Ocarina of Time aged that well, and maybe the original game.
Yeah, like the N64
doesn't, but
version.
I played the 3DS remake. I started it like in the spring, and I don't think I finished it, but that at least aged really well. Like I feel like the actual maybe the original game itself, like the original ROM, may not have aged super well.
Yeah.
But the game itself, like content-wise, is really good.
Yeah, it still holds up. I mean, I played a little bit of the DS version of it, and my only issue with the whole game was just I would like a mini map just to show like where I am relative to everything else. Or just like an indicator arrow, just so I can know what direction to go in for things. But that's just because of the way that I've played games. Like nowadays, I'm used to games where they do have like an indicator for go this direction for where you want to go.
Does a 3D? I think the 3DS one has something like that.
If it did, I didn't see it, but that probably is the case because I'm blind. But yeah, it's like. That's just the way that I am with things. And
man, I was hoping that would.
Yeah.
I was hoping that Shadow Sneak was just gonna like finish it off.
Yeah, it hit us with too many breaking swipes. But yeah, it's like there are great things about Breath of the Wild, but on its own, I think it's better than just as a Zelda game. It's like if I want to play an open world game, I want to play a game like Xenoblade, because like that is an awesome story that has awesome characters it has a lot to do, but it doesn't feel the same because you're fighting, just all kinds of different things with all kinds of different things. The environments are just great.
Xenoblade does such a great job with atmosphere.
Yeah, but the thing is, the people who worked on Monolith, they did help in Breath of the Wild.
I think Breath of the Wild. I think Xenoblade probably has a better atmosphere, but that's more of a testament to Xenoblade.
One of you guys should pick this thing up.
Yeah, I picked it up. I almost didn't, but
yeah, like Xenoblade does things fantastic. Like,
it's more of a testament to how good an atmosphere Xenoblade makes than. Like, I don't think Breath of the Wild has a bad atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I think Xenoblade does it better.
Yeah, like, for what Breath of the Wild is, its atmosphere is really, like, it's a very dark, down game because, like, you lost. You lost, and, like, this is you going back to try to win again. But, but it's like, that is a good idea. The problem is, just, there's no story until, like, literally the end of the second phase of Ganon's boss fight. That's literally the only character, that's literally the only story movement that happens.
I feel like you can kind of see some of, like, Monolith's, impact on the game if you think about, like, if you look at, like, the Lizalfos or, like, Bokoblins or Moblins, like, on their own, like, if you, the way that they interact is like a sort of a micro community.
Yeah.
Is definitely you get that sort of, I get the same sort of sense from, like, having, like, there's the one part in, like, really early Xenoblade, because I haven't played super far into the game. There's one part where, like, you have this boss fight against these, like, the one animals, because, like, you piss off the, like, mothers, so they, like, attack you.
Like the giant, like, dinosaur looking ram things.
Yeah.
And
so, like, that is, you already have, like, some of that, like, community kind of thing, like, built into the game by that point. Like, you've already seen it on your own, but then they incorporate it into the story, so it feels very real.
Yeah.
Everything feels very immersive with that game, and that sort of thing, having the Bokoblins sort of do that, and having them, like,
interact with one another as an actual, like, living thing. Yeah, it makes it pop more.
They, like, the producer for Zelda said that they, like, even programmed, like, the sound of Bokoblins picking their nose and stuff into the game. Like, there's all kinds of, like,
it's very immersive.
Stupidly specific sounds.
Yeah, it's very immersive. Like, that means, like, the polish on this game is beyond stellar. Like, the polish that Breath of the Wild has is just amazing.
Also, I got Wise Glasses and that item, which is...
It does absolutely really nothing. Nice.
What?
It does absolutely nothing because you only have, like, physical moves.
Do I only have this? Oh.
And Thunderbolt.
Well, in theory, it works.
In theory, it does.
I was thinking, like, oh, Duraludon. It's perfect.
Yeah, no. Just go for Breaking Swipe. I'm just gonna use Coaching. Unless this thing hits me with 1,000 Waves, or 1,000 Arrows, or lands Wrath, or literally anything, because this thing only has basically spread moves.
Oh, I'm gonna have Thunderbolt, which doesn't do anything.
Yeah, just use Breaking Swipe.
Am I Dynamaxing?
No, I want Sneasel to Dynamax, because that's an Ice-type move.
Okay.
And also I'm using Coaching.
Got it.
Also, thank you for joining Owen Plays. Thank you for joining the Discord. Hopefully this thing is not going to get into the below half. I don't think it's going to do that. Good. And I don't think you're going to get it. You're not going to get it below half. You're not going to get it below half. Well, we're dead. We're dead. And that's what pain looks like. And that is what pain looks like.
But we still have one, like, room for one more.
Yes. We do. But I was kind of counting on you getting the defense boost. Okay. Okay, this is at least good. Potentially we can... Screw you, game. Screw you, game. I mean, if I can get you guys like a full heal, defense boost, attack boost would be fantastic. Crit boost would also be fantastic. Light screen. Put up Dynamax energy. What is it? Oh, we got useless. Actually useless. An actually useless move. Oh wow, you actually survived. Breaking swipe. Oh no.
We have room for one triple. Oh,
we're dead.
Shoot, we have room for one triple axle, but
yeah, that I don't blame Zinnia for not going for triple axle there. I don't blame them. I do not blame them for doing that. Also, how are you doing, Silva Sentry? Yeah, I don't blame them for doing that.
Well, I meant like with one. But did we not? Who had Dynamax?
I'm pretty sure Zinnia's gonna have Dynamax
now,
this turn. Pretty sure Zinnia's gonna have yeah, Zinnia has Dynamax this turn. So
That's
we may be able to beat this thing if we're super like if we have like a crit. We might be able to do it, but I highly doubt it.
I'm not gonna be able to get my attack in before it attacks. Well, wait,
no, it
has
speed drops.
Speed drop,
it loses speed, so you might be able to get one in. Yeah, I know. I saw that. It was like, yeah, that makes sense. I agree that was probably the smart thing to do. I didn't think Breaking Swipe would deal enough damage. It's because the thing is like offset slightly from like the name, so you can't really tell when it gets to below half. It's really weird. Yeah, I agree with that. That makes sense. Yeah, that would have probably KO'd it. Had we had the Dynamax, just one turn shifted over, we would have destroyed this thing. Max Quake, okay, and please target Serena. Nope.
Oh no.
That's overkill. That's overkill right there. Zygarde, you suck, good sir. You suck, good sir. I hate this thing. Like, oh, what? No. Why, no. AI? Why are you doing this? Hurt yourself.
Why?
Okay. Okay. I didn't think we actually would have another turn. Okay. Okay, so this maybe this isn't too bad. We might have a shot. Maybe. Quite possibly. I'm not 100% sure. Quite totally.
It really does depend on.
Cause like if it uses Land's Wrath. Wait. We need a heal on Sneasel. We need a heal on Sneasel. Hopefully we'll target like one of us. But like I doubt it. We need a heal. We need a full heal. Nope. We're dead. We're dead. Come on, crit. No,
Oh.
no. Stat purge. Well, the no stats applied anyway. Don't bite. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
It gave us fault. It was just screwing with us. It was just screwing with us at that point. Screw you, Zygarde. It's like I'm gonna use bind on you first. Nah, we're gonna go for the throat. Yeah, that was a very understandable use of throat chop right there, Zinnia. I completely understand that. No shinies. We have not phased on this thing again. We phased on it once. I mean, we actually did pretty well on that thing, all things considered. Gonna go again for Zygarde. I am legitimately surprised that we've actually gone through this many battles of Zygarde and actually had this many successes. Because, like...
Yeah, I know, like, after the first...
Yeah, the first episode,
Wow.
we had... I think we went for 2.5 hours, and we had, like, only 2 wins. Now we're on, I think, episode, like 5.
We had, like, 6 or 7 total matches, though. And only 2 of them were wins.
Yeah, and that really just comes down to because the Pokemon you are given are so terrible in so many cases. Again, I get why they do it. It's to force you to work with other people. But that's the problem. Because the Pokemon are of such not good quality. It's like, I mean, there's still better movesets than what Pokemon in Generation 1 had, but that's not saying much.
Okay, that's not really saying
I
anything.
just was like that, but that isn't saying anything, because those things were just downright atrocious. It's like...
The game's a dumpster fire.
Oh,
the game,
yeah.
The movesets on, like, Pokemon Stadium are, like, horrific.
Yeah, I know. We went over some of those last time, and I love how bad they are. I love how bad they are. Ooh, Beartick.
Ooh,
I want that.
gets it.
I want that.
I guess, Matang. Yeah, I'm taking Matang.
I think that the Lilligant would actually be very good, because it has its own tempo and pedal dance. The Lilligant would be very helpful.
Well, maybe...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, Charjabug would actually...
never...
I mean, Charjabug does boost my special attacks. It does boost my special attack damage. So that at least is actually kind of good. And actually, that Dragonair does have Blizzard.
So, right side?
Also, so does the thing. The
What?
Barbarical, that's what it's called. I couldn't think of it for a second. I mean, yeah, it is more so it is the lack of synergy. That is true. It's like, the main problem is that boosting moves in Dynamax Adventures are basically irrelevant. Because of the stat purge. Like, that's the big problem, is that if they didn't have the stat purge, it would be so much better. Alright, there's a Minchow. There's a Minchow, right. I completely forgot it had Wide Guard. But yeah, we have ice types. I am gonna go max Hailstorm.
It's not Wide Guard, but the tank does have Reflect.
Yeah, that is true. Reflect would be helpful. I hope the AI does keep that that Charjabug, because like Charjabug is actually very helpful. Purely for the reason of we're gonna have we actually could have 3 Blizzard users with the Dragonair, with this, and the Barbarical. So just like that would be destructive. So one of us actually probably should take this thing to make sure they keep battery on Charjabug. Like if we have three Pokemon just spamming Blizzard in its face, it's not gonna have anything that it can do against that. Just triple destruction ice moves of death. Oh, that damage.
I did like...
It just like so much damage and then nothing. Because I mean, Matang doesn't really have a high attack stat. It's a lot more defense. And I'm not going to use like my ice moves again because I don't want to waste them. I'm gonna just use like Brine, well, Dynamax Brine.
This Matang or this Flygon.
It has Dragon
have
Claw.
A lot of physical?
It has Dragon Claw.
All right.
Well, I mean, you guys should have gone for the attacks, regardless. But
well,
that's fair.
Oops.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna end up doing that much though.
Yeah. I just don't want to be using all my ice moves on it right now. Oh my gosh, why is it avoiding all these moves? But yeah, Zinnia probably should pick up the Flygon for the battle against the Barbarical. Just because...
It avoided everything!
What the heck? Why? How?
You missed the string shot.
What?
Oh my god.
Did you use a Mud Slap on it someone? It must have used Mud Slap. That's what it is. That must have been what it is. Because I know Assurance has like perfect accuracy. It has 100% accuracy normally. So it must have
hit everyone?
No.
Hit everyone? That doesn't explain everybody missing.
Well,
I've been 2 turns.
Well, String Shot is, I believe, String Shot does not always hit. I know that. That was just us getting unlucky. Screech, I know, also doesn't have perfect accuracy.
Really?
Yeah, I know it does not have perfect accuracy. It has, like, I think, like 85 accuracy. Remember, it's a 2-stage defense drop. That's really, really good. Maybe it does have perfect accuracy normally. I am not going to catch this thing because I already have a shiny Flygon, and I don't care to have another one. Yeah, Zinnia, you should pick up the Flygon. At the very least, just... What?
My friend that I was telling you about just messaged me and said he beat Cyrus on his Platinum playthrough for the last time, and he had to, like, cheese it to get around the Gyarados.
Oh, Gyarados is a menace. Like, his Gyarados is a...
who is...
Zinnia's gonna take it. Zinnia's gonna take it.
He's taking the Flygon?
Yeah, Zinnia's gonna take the Flygon, but we're gonna get rid of it for the Barbaracle. I just want the... Yeah. I just want Martin to not get rid of Charge-Bug. Because one reason alone, that thing is bad, which is a 30% special attack boost. And there are 3 Blizzard users we have access to right now. This Barbaracle, and then the Dragonair. All get Blizzard. Oh, shit!
Yeah, I think we're gonna lose.
I thought that was an I thought this was an item person. I had something.
Oh, no.
Right. Well, mistakes have been made. Mistakes have been made. Okay, well then, at the very least... that was a big mistake. Okay. Zinnia should probably keep the Flygon then, because it's a super effective move. You and I should switch up for the Dragonair. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I am so stupid. I know that you have Thunder Punch. I know so, but then again, Flygon will probably be hitting harder because Dynamax ground moves. I am so stupid. Well, at least if one of us had to make a flub, it was me. I'd rather be the one to make a mistake than anyone else.
Anyway, so he was saying that he was having problems with Cyrus's Gyarados, so he had to basically, like, switch back and forth between Lucario and Staraptor.
Had to switch, stall it.
Yeah, so Lucario took the Ice Fangs and Staraptor took the Earthquakes, and until, I guess, it just didn't have attack.
Yeah, until it was just
nothing.
Which
I can understand, because I remember my Platinum playthrough, if you remember, I had problems like that with that Gyarados.
I mean, it's a Gyarados. It's a Gyarados. It has ridiculously... It has great stats. It has good defense. It has good special defense. Yeah. Intimidate. It's a Gyarados that has 125 physical attack. Yeah. It has a good physical move pool. Like, there's a reason Gyarados is still competitively used.
I remember, like, a couple weeks ago, I was, like, kind of saying my Gyarados for my BDSP playthrough is not really that good. And this and that. It can't really take hits super well. And then it just, like... completely destroyed
everyone.
Gym and like didn't break a sweat.
Yeah, it's like everything just dies. Everything dies. I love it.
But that's why, like, I really think I want to get rid of Rain Dance, but it like for like a coverage move. But Rain Dance was so useful, and I know I might benefit. Like, I know I could use it against Bertha in the Elite Four.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
So, like.
There's a lot. There's also another person who also uses weather in the Elite Four.
Oh.
Flint.
Oh, you're right.
Fire types, sun.
Yeah.
Fire types, sun.
Yeah, so like, I hate just having Crunch and Waterfall. But I don't really want to get rid of Dragon Dance, but I also don't want to get rid of Rain Dance.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what to do there. I might just kind of deal with the limited coverage, at least until I get through the Pokemon League first time.
Yeah. I mean, they get a lot harder when you beat them. They get a lot harder on the second run through. Yeah, I do agree we do need the Mian Shao. So yeah, we'll go for that next. I will pick this up. I will pick this up, and you, Thomas, you should pick up the Mian Shao. I know that I was thinking about
Okay.
the Dragonair, but it was like I messed up with the why can't I think? Bear Tick, that's what it is. Can't even think of the right thing.
Yeah.
It was like, if we had that, okay, we probably could go without it. It was like, I messed that up. We don't have the damage to compensate. And that is an expert belt. Love that. What are your items?
I think I'm going with Quick Claw. I was gonna go Shell Bell again, and then I realized I probably wouldn't be making that many attacks, so...
Yeah. I mean, you're also going to be having a Mian Shao. So, it's not going to help all that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, not exactly great. But I mean, I know that like this is like a long overdue, but like thank you, Ferrothorn, for enjoying the Generation 5 analysis. That means a lot. So like, what I'm going to be doing from now on is probably splitting them up into like 25, 30 at most parts. You know, like 25, 30-minute parts, so it's not like, okay, an hour and a half, because the Generation 5 one is probably the longest I would go for a single thing. Which, that was colossal. That thing was huge. Which is going to be good, because it's going to be a little easier to edit.
I thought it was Generation 5.
Oh, Gen 5, that's what I said. Gen 5 was that one.
You said it was Colossal.
Colossal, as in, like, gigantic. I know it's a pun. I just realized now it was a pun, and I am so stupid. Also, hey Nova. Hey Nova. Yeah, I did not... The master of pun... The pun master supreme takes a while to catch on to other people's puns.
This main shell scares me.
I mean, Mian Shao is just terrifying in general. It's a menace in VGC. It's a menace in literally everything, and that is terrifying damage. How are we outspeeding this thing? Oh, right. String shot.
Oh, okay.
That's why we're faster.
I was wondering why I didn't, like...
Why are we moving faster than this Mian Shao, this Pokemon whose entire thing is just being fast? Oh yeah, it's because of String Shot. Thank you, Martin, for actually being helpful. You're gonna pick this one up, because we're gonna need the Wide Guard. So, Flygon should probably just focus on using Mud Slap against this thing. Which game do you mean? Shield and Sword or Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl?
Shield and Sword.
Okay. Yeah, I get Shield and Sword. I think Shield and Sword is great. A lot of people complain about Shield and Sword. A lot of people say it's the worst game, air quotes, because they just don't like the fact that the Dex cut happened. They will look at that and just say, oh, this game is terrible because this thing happened. They won't actually look at the game itself.
It's definitely...
Yeah.
I have, like, issues with it, but it's far from the worst
it's like
game ever. It's not the worst Pokemon game, let alone the worst game.
I would say that it is... Again, like, I would say, like, it's not on the better half of the Pokemon game, but when you really consider that, like, the best Pokemon games are, like, I consider Ultra and Ultra Moon, Sun Moon, the entire Generation 4, the entire Generation 5. Like, that's over half the series. So, like, it's... I'd say I'd say it's better than the Hoenn games. It's better than the Hoenn games. Like, yeah, the Dex cut is good. A lot of the people will hate on this game just for the Dex cut having happened, not even look at the game itself and, like, judge the game for what it actually is. Because the game itself is actually... The game itself, it's not much different than, you know, most other Pokemon games. It's like, if you like playing Pokemon games, you will like this game. Like, it's not the hardest Pokemon game in the world, but it's leagues better than, like, X and Y, because X and Y is just looking through a lot of the fights, like a lot of the stuff in X and Y, I'm just like, do they? How could they actually make these things? Like the people who program this game is like, how could they make the game this much of a joke? How could they make like the game this ham-fisted for the story? It's kind of insane, but yeah, it's.
Oh, and I actually agree with you. I actually like the deck cuts. I felt like it made it easier for me to get into competitive.
Well, I mean,
it made it easier to. I enjoy using different Pokemon on every playthrough. So the dex cuts and having some of them not available sort of like
refreshing
into my hand nicely.
Yeah, I think the dex cuts were some of the best things. Like I think the dex cut was fantastic. I think it was the other thing is that a lot of people don't realize that the idea of not including every single Pokemon in every single game dates back to Gen 2. Even from like the beginning of the series, they came to the realization that they can't have every Pokemon in every single game. It's just not going to work. And there will come a time where they have to just not include them all. So, this is that time. It was just the only reason why, until this time, that they actually included every Pokemon was literally because, well, we can program every Pokemon into the game, we have the stuff there, so why not include them? This was the first time where they decided we're not going to include every single thing for reasons of it's time we start getting people used to the idea of not having every Pokemon, because it needs to happen. You know, another reason why people will like hate Generation 8 is purely because Megas are no longer a thing. A lot of people really liked Megas, and they're gone now. And they don't like the fact that they're gone. It's like, it really, a lot of people will say bad things about this game, Hayden, out of pure pettiness. Also, thank you for the special attack boost. We needed that. It's like, a lot of the dislike of Generation 8 boils down to just being petty. It's like the Generation 5 hate.
Pokemon Dash was great.
I
mean, it's objectively not a good game, but
it's fun.
No, Pokemon Troze is actually a cool game.
Yeah. It's like, it's for many of the same reason that people complained about something like Generation 5. It's just purely because the thing I like isn't something, something, something.
I think Dynamax is probably the best battle gimmick.
Yeah.
So far. I could do without any battle gimmick.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, all the battle gimmicks are supremely unhealthy for the series. They all need to go and they never should have been a thing. But I vastly prefer Dynamaxing to Megas purely for the simple reason of you can remove Dynamax boosts. Like, that's one thing that will always boil down to is you cannot remove the massive stat increases Megas get any way other than knocking them out. With Dynamaxes, you can use Weather against them. Like, Weather opens up strengths as well as weaknesses. Dynamaxing the stat boost, you can completely erase them with Clear Smog, Hate, a bunch of different things. Even things like Punishment do bonus damage against them. A lot of it really boils down to people not wanting to use those things, or people trying to beat them by just muscling straight through it and like not thinking the best way to fight them is just wait them out. It's like you're going about the entire thing the wrong way. Whereas like they're on an inbuilt timer. You can also just deny the boosts from even happening with an immunity. With Megas, you can't do that. One of the other things that people don't like Dynamaxing because of, like, weakness policy and stuff like that was, like, that's not because of the Dynamax. People would do that anyway if the Dynamax wasn't a thing. You wouldn't see stuff like
that's the same thing of why people like Smogon people don't like evasion accuracy stuff, it's not.
It's not that it's uncompetitive.
Really
It's they just don't want to deal with it.
It's a strategy that they don't like.
Exactly.
This policy is a strategy.
It's purely because it annoys them. And that's like I've said, the reason why sleep claws, evasion claws are banned isn't because they're uncompetitive. Because here's the thing. If you're going to tell me a 10% boost to evasion, or like a 10% chance of avoiding stuff, the 4 turns it takes to set up evasion tactics, if you're going to tell me that, which is less than a 50% chance, is a win condition to reliably win less than 50% of the time, I'm going to say to you, what the heck are you looking at for statistics? Because whenever something is less than 50%, it is inherently unreliable. A 10% chance is not reliable. It's purely because they don't want to deal with losing to that. It's just purely annoyance. It has nothing to do with being uncompetitive. Also, hey Philly, sorry I was like talking like there. But yet it's purely they don't want to deal with it. Again, it's extremely petty. But the thing is, they can say, well, it's uncompetitive because they're one of the biggest, they're probably even bigger than the official rule systems that are in place because most people don't play doubles. So they can say whatever they want and people will just follow. When it's purely because they just don't like it. It's nothing more than they just don't like evasion. They're just annoyed by it.
Is this thing seriously survive with just a sliver of health
Yep.
at the end of that turn?
It's one of the reasons why I say, if you're going to ban, RNG is an intrinsic part of Pokemon. Damage ranges are a thing.
Part of the map.
Critical hits are a thing. You cannot say evasion is uncompetitive when almost every single move used has a 10% chance of an added side effect that can massively change a game, when critical hits exist, when all of these different things that exist, which are RNG based, happen. You cannot say it is uncompetitive when that is an intrinsic part of Pokemon. It's like, okay, then why is Togekiss not banned? Because it's RNG. It's RNG.
That's its whole thing.
Exactly. It's like you can't say RNG in one instance is okay, but then in another, oh, it's bad. It's like you're literally moving the goalposts and you're not keeping anything consistent. Again, sorry if you missed that, Philly, but how you doing? Glad to see you're here. Even it's like Smogon is such a bunch of BS. It has nothing to do with that. The other thing also is that whenever it comes to someone making the rules for a format that they themselves have a vested interest in the game of, I am highly skeptical of any rules and judgments. Because the other thing is that the ban cutoffs, after this, percent usage, then, it goes into being banned. The number they pick is just arbitrary. It can be 75% usage, 70%, 85, 80%. The number they pick to cut things off is still an arbitrary number they just picked. There's no basis for it. It is just we picked this number to be the bound. Also, the code is up. It's the other part is well, it's also, even if something passes that number, it still isn't ensured it will be removed. It just means it can be if they vote it to be removed. It's there's still the chances for a lot of bias in there. And it's I always say that bias. That's why I always go with VGC. I go by what the status quo of the actual game is. But how's everyone doing tonight? Sorry about that Just Giant rant tangent.
I'm good, but
Yeah, glad to see you're doing well.
yeah, it's nice being kind of back to life now that I'm like going back to work and stuff.
Yeah.
Having like an actual schedule.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, That's good. Yeah, I'm seeing so many of those teams for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Just like the just rude EV spreads that they have with natures just horrify me.
In game.
Yeah, like
maybe I'll finish that. Maybe I'll finish that game because I was pretty far into it. I was on Pony Island. I was like pretty late in the game.
Here's the thing, even the generic NPCs have natures benefiting their movesets and 252 EVs in that stat. So you can go against like a black belt with like a Machop. Their Machop will have adamant 252, and it's like level 15.
Jeez.
And it's like level 15. This game holds nothing back. This game goes straight for the throat.
That's kind of a shame. Every Pokemon game, except for Sword and Shield, and maybe BDSP, that like went really legit, was like very much slept on, because most people didn't get Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Yeah, which is really big. Actually, speaking of those numbers, this is a hilarious thing that I was talking with someone, like they said, the original games are the best because they sold the best, and my response that was, okay, let's look at how many games are being totaled in those sale numbers. Wait, it looks like there was an error in the stream. At least on one of them.
Hello there. Well, hello there.
Hello there.
Hello.
Let's go to the left. I have
Come to buff Zygarde some more today.
Yeah.
Is everyone having else? Okay, so is anyone else having some stream issues? Because mine kind of like
I have
crapped
stream
out.
you. Uh-oh.
I don't think so. I think it's working.
Okay, because
It's working on my end.
Because someone sent me a Discord message saying the stream like crapped out for them.
It might have.
the stream open, and
It's working right now for me.
Okay, so it's working for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that it's not down for that one person. I mean, it could be like their internet's down or something, but that's...
Oh well, I have like nothing for this guy.
I mean, we could also just intentionally lose now that he joined.
It's fine.
I mean, I probably would rather do that because we don't have a good path, really.
Are we intentionally losing?
Yep.
I will say though,
Got
I
it.
was here for like a minute beforehand. I was trying to get things set up for myself.
That's fine.
Ultra Sun was actually kind of hard.
Ultra Sun is very hard because you look at the AI teams, they have extremely favorable natures. They have the correct EV spreads.
I actually found myself PP stalling that Togedemaru.
Well, like here's the thing. Guzma's Vikavolt is modest 252.
Really?
It is modest 252 special attack, 252 HP. That is not much with
know that.
a moveset that is not dissimilar from what people run in actual competitive settings. Which is also like pretty much the same IV spread that they also run, or EV spread. It's like the only difference, they use the speed decreasing nature with the special attack increasing rather than modest. Like, keep in mind, Vikavolt has a 145 special attack. That is almost equal to Dialga, to Palkia, to Zekrom's physical attack. That is almost equal to Huge Power Azumarill's attack stat. Like, and that is maxed out with modest 252. That's why his Mask Rain hits so
everyone had
hard.
their own solutions for the big dragon. What was yours?
Oh, Necrozma?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing itself is another like whole beast in and of itself. Because
Oh, it was.
the way that I did it was I had Incineroar, and my Incineroar Affection survived Power Gem, and I think I like PP stalled it from Power Gem, and then I just like I
did it.
toxiced it.
I did it my first time without any of that.
I don't
My
even
first
remember what
solution
I did to beat it.
Mimikyu, toxic.
Oh my gosh. Well, here's the thing: Photon Geyser
Toxic stalled it.
Well, Photon Geyser ignores your ability, so it will ignore Sturdy and
It has
Disguise.
flash cannon.
No, it has Smart Strike. Yeah, right, it has Smart Strike.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
Smart
That's
Strike.
right.
Wait.
So it's gonna use Smart Strike. Because
Yeah.
That's super effective.
Yep. I mean, it makes
So
sense.
just hit me with Smart Strike.
It makes sense. It's like, this thing is disgusting.
Then
It's
I
like,
take it out with Mimikyu, taking the hit, then toxic. If that didn't work, my other option was just get something sturdy.
yeah. Well, again, Sturdy wouldn't work because of the Photon Geyser. Well, then again, we'll just
That
use
is
Smart
true.
Strike against like a Steel type. I guess a Rock type, I guess. So yeah. It's like that thing is mean. That thing is mean.
Do you think?
I loved
Do you
it.
think there was a problem with the stream? Because there's only 2 people on.
Yeah,
I'm one
I
of them.
think that there might be a problem with it. I think it might have crashed for some people.
I have the stream open. It's not that.
Okay, because
But it's-
I think it might have crashed for some people, but it could also be just like YouTube not displaying the actual number of people watching because YouTube is stupid.
How many
Yeah, I
people
mean, I
does it
can-
say are watching?
If I refresh, it
Oh,
still
2.
still says 2
Okay,
people.
well, we'll figure it out then. We'll figure it out whenever.
I guess.
Are
it's
we
supposed to
actually
put
gonna beat this
maximum on
Gastrodon?
myself.
I mean, to be fair, we have 3 lives. We have 3 lives, and we've lost 2 of them so far, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
But also,
I've
like,
ton.
we have, remember,
I wasted the Wait, God.
remember, Crawdaunt has adaptability. Remember, Crawdaunt has adaptability, so it is doing really, really high amounts of damage. Yeah, it might have been just that, because now we're back up to 4 people.
I will say though, there was one other. I think I only played through it one other time, and that was a solo run of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Yeah,
My
I
solution was Primarina.
yeah, Primarina is what I used in one of my other
That thing
playthroughs.
is bulky.
Primarina's
So
a
I picked
menace.
That specifically to deal with the dragon.
Yeah, because it's not weak to steel. It'll default to using its special attacks
And
because
it's bulky,
yeah,
giving me time to roto boost it.
yeah, it's yeah. I think I'm gonna have to use the roto boost. So yeah. Okay, now
I think I ended up one-shotting it.
okay. Yeah, I don't even remember. I remember.
One-shotting it.
I remember in one version of the thing that I did. Okay, so it looks like we're actually having some stream issues. It looks like we're having some
Yeah.
stream issues. Okay, so we're actually gonna be
It just
calling
does
this
more on
early.
Everyone's end.
We're gonna be calling this early because if there's gonna be some streaming issues, then we might want to like cut things off before anything gets too bad. Because I would
Well,
rather
I'm
like
the only one.
I'd rather have like a
It says one on
controlled.
my end as well.
Yeah, I'd rather have a controlled raid that we can go do to someone. So I'll
Rip me. Oh well.
I'll go look for someone to go do a raid on. But yeah, yeah, I don't think we're gonna be doing another battle after this. Like, we're not gonna go do another run, just because like there's been so many issues going on right now. I'd rather not have problems while doing the thing. It was unfortunate because I would have really liked to do this, but if the thing wants to keep having issues, I don't see the thing. Maybe it's an issue from YouTube screwing their API to remove the dislike count. But yeah, I think it would be better if we just like do a controlled thing right now, because if we don't have people here and just like no one's watching because of issues going out with the stream, like connection things, we should just go do a thing right now. So yeah, let's.
Big oof.
Really
Oh, well.
sorry about this, everyone. Really sorry. But I will go grab a link of one of my friends who is actually streaming and shiny
Oh
hunting
God,
at the
I really
moment.
did not think we were gonna do this well.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I mean, that's I guess what happens when you have connection issues rolling the entire time. So, yeah, we'll be.
Like, we're doing a really bad job intentionally losing
Alright.
this.
Yeah, like we're
Stream is looking
intentionally
pretty
losing,
nasty.
and we're somehow not completely losing everything. So, Well, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
seeing a bunch
okay.
of people that like it's crashing for them and like the thing is going down, but
Oh, it's actually starting to get pretty wonky for me as well.
yeah, we're just doing
Same.
a controlled rage. We're doing a thing right now because if it's gonna be crashing soon at some point, I'd rather like end off when it's controlled than just have it just disconnect. Mechanized Maxis raid. Over to my
Big
friend House of Moxie because they are shiny
I guess I should pay
hunting.
more attention to the Discord.
What paying attention?
The
The
one we said
PSPS
about the
Discord.
Zygarde raid.
Oh yeah, someone did that. Yeah. But yeah, it's like we're just ending off right now, so we're gonna be going over to House of Moxie to raid. So I hope to see all of you guys over there. Sorry, like we're ending early. I
Maybe
hate
next
it.
time.
I hate that we actually have to end off like this, but I mean, it's just the way that the YouTube gods will it. So, see you guys next time. Have a Merry Kaiju Crushmas and a monstrous New Year. Hope to see you guys next time we stream. We'll be, of course, doing this again tomorrow. Don't know when, but we'll be doing it again tomorrow. I don't know which one we'll be doing, but see you guys then.
Damn, alright.
Yeah, the link is in the thing to the chat, so I hope to see everyone over there. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day. Like, man, means a lot that you came out.